You think when a woman starts reaching, testing, posting, circling, teasing, and suddenly finding reasons to be seen by you, it means you've already won. But sometimes it means the exact opposite. It means you're being invited into a hunger that has nothing to do with who you are. And if you don't understand that, you will mistake attention for connection, chemistry for alignment, and access for value. If you need truth more than comfort, subscribe now, because you do not need more noise in your head. You need reminders. You need perspective. You need somebody to tell you what your feelings will try to hide the second attention hits your ego. Here's what it really means. When a woman hasn't been intimate in a long time, she may not just want a man. She may want relief. Relief from loneliness. Relief from disconnection. Relief from feeling unseen, unfelt, unchosen, untouched. And if you are not grounded, you will walk into that moment thinking you are being selected for your substance, when in reality you are simply nearby when the ache gets loud. That does not make her evil, it makes her human. But your job is not to romanticize human behavior just because it flatters you. That's the mistake. You see the late night energy, the sudden warmth, the extra eye contact, the soft bait, the little pull for reassurance, the flirt that feels just a little too charged for the level of real connection that actually exists. And your mind starts writing a story. She sees something in me. She can't stop thinking about me. This must mean I matter. Slow down. It might mean she is deprived. It might mean she is emotionally restless. It might mean she is starved for affirmation and trying to feel alive again through your response. That's not intimacy. That's stimulus. That's not depth. That's activation. That's not choosing. That's reaching. And too many men get destroyed right there because you were not trained to read hunger, you were trained to worship attention. So the second it shows up, you lose your posture. You stop observing, you stop thinking, you stop filtering, you stop asking the most important question of all: what is this actually leading to? You stop, you stop, you stop. You stop protecting your peace. You stop honoring your standards. You stop measuring consistency. You stop listening to actions. And you start chasing the feeling of being wanted. That's called emotional bribery. Not because she sat down and planned to manipulate you like some cartoon villain, but because your unmet needs can be bought cheaply when you don't know your own worth. A glance buys you. A text buys you. A little vulnerability buys you. A little seduction buys you. And then you call that love because you don't want to admit how inexpensive your discipline became. Hard truth. A lot of what men call a special connection is just mutual emptiness meeting at the perfect time. Read that again in your mind. Mutual emptiness. Perfect timing. That spark you feel? Sometimes it's real, but sometimes it's two lonely nervous systems using each other as a temporary painkiller. And the reason that matters is simple. Painkillers wear off. Then what's underneath comes roaring back. Now you're confused. Now she's inconsistent. Now you're overthinking. Now you're trying harder. Now you're attached to a version of her that only existed in the moment she needed something from life, and you happen to be the nearest emotional doorway. And because your ego got fed in the beginning, your self-respect gets starved in the end. This is why men suffer. Not because women are complicated. Not because love is impossible, but because you keep reading every strong signal as a deep signal. It isn't. Intensity is not depth. Attention is not investment. Desire is not devotion. Need is not loyalty. Presence versus performance. Reality versus fantasy. Pattern versus moment. Which one are you reading? Because if you read moments, you will live in confusion. If you read patterns, you will live in clarity. So why does this happen? Root cause. When somebody has been without intimacy for a long time, they don't just miss touch, they miss validation, they miss softness, they miss being mirrored, they miss the emotional high of being desired, they miss the disruption of routine, they miss the feeling that life is still open, still alive, still romantic, still electric. And when that deprivation builds, attention starts to feel medicinal. That's when behavior changes. More suggestive energy, more strategic visibility, more emotional openings, more little tests to see if you're tuned in, more attempts to create a current without building a foundation. Why? Because attention can imitate intimacy for a while. A look can imitate closeness. A conversation can imitate chemistry. A flirtation can imitate meaning. A physical undertone can imitate connection. Imitate, not replace. And if you are a man who is also hungry, you won't notice the difference until the cost shows up. And the cost always shows up. It costs you time, real time. It costs you focus. It costs you emotional steadiness. It costs you your mission because now your thoughts keep drifting. It costs you your edge because uncertainty makes weak men obsessive. It costs you your dignity because when signals are inconsistent, insecure men start auditioning. You text more, you explain more, you perform more, you tolerate more, you accept less. That is the price of misreading need as alignment. And here is the part most men don't want to hear. Sometimes the reason this dynamic hooks you so hard is because you weren't really craving her either. You were craving proof. Proof that you're desirable. Proof that you still matter. Proof that you can move someone. Proof that you are not invisible. So when her attention lands on you, it does not just activate attraction, it activates your wound. That's why you can't think straight. That's why one hot, cold cycle wrecks your whole week. That's why you replay tiny details like they were sacred. It's not always because she is extraordinary. Sometimes it's because she touched the bruise you were hiding from yourself. That's called dependency on external confirmation. And if you don't kill that dependency, every attractive distraction will own a piece of your mind. Now let's reframe this like a man. If a woman who has gone a long time without intimacy starts doing things to get your attention, your first job is not to get excited. Your first job is to get still. Stillness is power. You observe. You don't rush. You don't fill in blanks. You don't crown chemistry before character has spoken. You let time expose truth, because truth needs less theater than fantasy does. Fantasy rushes. Truth reveals. Fantasy wants a climax. Truth wants a pattern. Fantasy says, this feels strong. Truth says, what does this become over time? And the man you need to become understands that difference at a cellular level. He is not cold. He is not bitter. He is not scared of women. He is not hiding behind fake stoicism and calling it strength. No, he is grounded. He is clear. He can enjoy attention without becoming owned by it. He can appreciate beauty without submitting his judgment to it. He can feel desire without worshiping it. He can listen to warmth without abandoning standards. He is the man who does not confuse being chosen for being used as emotional anesthesia. Look at him closely. He has a life that does not pause because somebody flirted with him. He has purpose that does not bend because somebody became suddenly available. He has boundaries that do not collapse because somebody made him feel special. He has self-respect that does not need to be negotiated in the dark. He is calm when others are reactive, measured when others are impulsive, present when others are performative. He does not chase mixed energy. He does not decode crumbs. He does not build castles out of eye contact. He watches, he listens, he tests for consistency, he honors actions over atmosphere, and because of that, he is hard to manipulate without ever trying to be hard. He simply cannot be bought cheaply. His attention has weight because it comes from a man whose center is intact. That is the man. And that is the energy you need if you want peace. So what do? You stop rushing to interpret. You stop turning spark into destiny. You stop rewarding inconsistency with more access. You stop fantasizing about potential while your standards are being ignored. You stop calling confusion depth. You stop calling anxiety chemistry. You stop calling emotional volatility passion. Then you redirect. Watch what is repeated. Listen for substance. Slow the pace. Keep your routines. Protect your sleep. Stay on your mission. Let her actions earn your emotional investment instead of your loneliness, handing it away for free. Ask yourself simple questions. Is she seeking me or seeking relief? Is there consistency or just intensity? Is this connection growing in clarity or feeding on ambiguity? Do I feel grounded around this or addicted to the uncertainty? That last question matters more than you think, because healthy connection stabilizes you. It may challenge you, yes. It may stretch you, yes. but it does not repeatedly disorganize your soul. If you keep feeling mentally scattered, emotionally hijacked, and spiritually off center, don't call it love. Call it information. Information. Your body is telling you something your ego does not want to hear. And if you are wise, you will hear it early. Now understand this clearly. The answer is not to become cynical. The answer is not to assume every woman is acting from lack. The answer is not to punish someone for being human, needing closeness, or wanting to feel desired. That's not strength. That's wounded pride wearing armor. The answer is discernment. Discernment says, I can have compassion without surrendering judgment. Discernment says, I can see your hunger and still ask whether you're capable of healthy connection. Discernment says, I don't need to shame desire, yours or mine. I just refuse to let desire outrank truth. That is masculine clarity, and clarity changes everything because once you see this pattern, you stop taking every pull personally. You stop making her behavior a referendum on your value. You stop asking, what do I need to do to keep her attention? And start asking, what is this dynamic doing to my peace? That question will save your life. What is this dynamic doing to my peace? If the answer is draining it, shrinking it, scattering it, addicting it, or humiliating it, then no amount of attraction justifies the cost. No amount. Because your life cannot be built on emotional weather. It must be built on principle. Principle over impulse, self-respect over access, peace over ego, truth over fantasy. And yes, some men hate hearing this because part of them still wants the shortcut. They want the intoxicating woman, the easy validation, the thrilling ambiguity, the emotional roller coaster that lets them feel something dramatic and call it meaningful. But drama is not depth. Chaos is not connection. Being desired in a moment does not mean being valued in a life. Grow up. That is love too. The kind that tells you the truth before your habits ruin you. You want to become dangerous in the right way. Become harder to move off your square. Become less hypnotized by attention and more anchored in standards. Become the man whose emotions are informed by reality, not baited by fantasy. Do this. Pause before reacting. Observe before attaching. Confirm before investing. Clarify before fantasizing. Walk away before begging. Do this. Keep your body disciplined. Keep your schedule full. Keep your vision bigger than your urges. Keep your standards visible to yourself, not just spoken out loud to impress other people. Do this. If the energy is real, let it mature. If the interest is sincere, let it prove itself. If the connection is healthy, it will survive pace, boundaries, and honesty. And if it dies under those things, it was never strong. It was only urgent. Urgency is loud. Truth is steady. Never forget that. The man with self-respect does not fear losing attention. He fears losing himself. He fears becoming needy, reactive, distracted, easy to steer. He fears betraying his own code for a temporary emotional reward. So he stays awake. He stays honest. He stays in command of what enters his life and what gets denied at the gate. That is not arrogance. That's alignment. And once you live from alignment, you stop feeling cursed by other people's inconsistency. You stop acting shocked when unhealed behavior behaves unhealed. You stop personalizing what was never about you in the first place. You see clearly. You choose cleanly. You move on quickly when you need to. Not because you're numb, but because you're trained. Trained men suffer less, not because life goes easier on them, because they stop volunteering for avoidable confusion. So if you're in that space right now, if somebody's attention has you twisted up, if the signals are strong but the substance is weak, if your mind is racing because the chemistry feels heavy but the clarity feels absent, hear me carefully. Come back to yourself. Come back to your standards. Come back to your routines. Come back to your breath. Come back to your mission. Come back to the version of you that does not need to be chosen in order to feel whole, because that version of you is the answer, not her text, not her validation, not her desire. You. You are the answer. You are the stability you keep trying to borrow from other people. You are the leadership your emotions are begging for. You are the protector of your peace. You are the filter. You are the standard. You are the man who decides what kind of energy gets access to your mind, your body, your time, and your future. Stand there. Stand there until your habits catch up to your wisdom. Stand there until your loneliness stops negotiating on your behalf. Stand there until attention no longer seduces you out of your values. Stand there until truth feels better than fantasy. And if you want more of that kind of clarity, subscribe, because this is where you come to remember what the world keeps trying to make you forget. You're not here to beg for scraps. You're not here to decode confusion. You're not here to abandon your center for the thrill of being noticed. You're here to become unshakable. And if that's the path you're on, you're not alone. Stay with this community. Stay around men who want truth, discipline, and self respect more than temporary highs. That's how you rebuild your standards. That's how you reclaim your life. That's how you stop chasing the answer and become it.